We are living through a time of rapid transformation as the world changes, becoming more digital, more globalized and more diverse. Childhood is changing with it. The Changing Childhood project is a collaboration of UNICEF and Gallup, created to better understand what it means to be a child in the 21st century. This is done by surveying young and older people in 21 countries around the world, including Nigeria. It is sought to answer two questions. What is it like growing up today, and how do young people see the world differently? Now, to answer these questions, our guest today will highlight and examine how young people in Nigeria see the world differently. What is it like growing up today, and how do young people see the world differently? The ultimate goal of the conversation is centered on young people, their experiences and perspectives, aimed at improving life for all children today and into the future. Welcome to Nigeria Today. I am Lydia Odije Ochi. With me in the studio to discuss the changing childhood of Nigerian children is the UNICEF country representative in Nigeria, Peter Hawkins. Welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Also joining us is the Speaker, Children's Parliament, Michelle Chukwuma. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
I'll begin with Hawkins. Give us an overview of what it was like growing up in your days and what makes it different from that of the 21st century children.
I think inevitably technology is one of the biggest changes in our generation, or the number of generations. A child today has access to technology, has access to data, has access to the world in terms of where there's nothing restricting them from going out. What was interesting about the Gallup poll in Nigeria was that 48% of young people felt they had access, and 49% of those over 40 had access. So the parity between the young and the less young, maybe should say, was almost equal. And technology, young people are far more likely to be adept at using technology to their advantage. And therefore, technology, I think, is a very important step in realizing the rights of children to actually voice their concerns, show and demonstrate solutions, and be able to articulate what their views are about themselves, about life, and about society as a whole.
Now, I'm still going to ask you this question. Tell us more on how young people see or perceive the world differently today, and perhaps how to improve life for them.
Well, I think one, they are far more positive about their situation. They feel that their situation is better than children, say, a generation ago. And the facts will support that. Mortality rate has gone down, not significantly, but it still has gone down. Educational and literacy has gone up. Learning has improved, but there's a long way to go. So they are positive about their situation. They feel that they're in a better situation than the generations before. But when they look at their ambition, they're positive about that, but they understand that there are constraints in fulfilling their ambition.
Okay. Mitchell, I'd like to ask you that question too. How do young people in Nigeria, because you're a Nigerian child, how do you see the world today differently? And how do you want life to be improved for Nigerian children?
Okay, in my opinion, life today is way more different compared to back then in those days. Like you always hear our parents, our grandparents say that life those days were really not like now. Firstly, technology has really improved the lives of the youths and the children of this day, both positively and negatively. Like, we use technology in positive ways and negative ways, and it has really changed a lot of things compared to how things were before. it has made things easier, better, faster, and just very comfortable for us all.
Now, Mr. Hawkins, in practical terms, tell us what areas and ways we can actually change the childhood of the Nigerian child to conform with the reality of the 21st century, and to what end?
I think one of the interesting things, and Michelle has alluded to this, is there are many advantages that technology and data gives. One, they access social media and are able to access global issues, not only domestic issues. But there are also the negative side, where there are a lot of children feel that their data might be accessed, their personal information could be accessed as well. So they're risk averse in that sense, and they need to find that balance to protect themselves, but at the same time to open themselves up to those wonderful and incredible opportunities that exist in both the social media, data, accessing information, and global information. Let's not forget, it's not just information in Nigeria, which in itself is profound and brilliant, but global information that allows them to aspire to a wider set of objectives.
Okay. Now, Mitchell, let's talk about another aspect. Marriage, for instance. Most young people think the legal age for marriage should be above the current age limit. What is your opinion on this, and what do you think the legal age of marriage should be, and why?
In my own perspective, age is just a number. But I'm not an advocate of young marriage, but I'm an advocate of children and youths getting prepared to face the future, being armed enough to know what is ahead of them. There can be a 16-year-old child and a 25-year-old child, and the 16-year-old child can be way more mature than that of the 25-year-old child. So age doesn't really matter, although it counts, but it doesn't really matter. So age doesn't count as a factor of maturity. You can be young but still very mature.
So in your own perspective, you don't have any age in
No,
mind?
I
What
do
about
have-
children giving out early marriages?
No.
What will you say about that?
I do not advise early marriages.
Okay.
But I feel like the age limit that is existing now is not that is okay. 18 years, I feel 18 years should be increased, because some people are 18 years and they're not yet mature enough to face what is out there. It's not just marriage, is not just a word. Like, there's more to marriage. There are lots of things, and you need to be more mature to go into marriage.
Okay.
That's my own view.
Mr. Hawkins, what do you have to say about that?
No, I think there's no question. A girl under the age of 18 is a child, and a child has to prepare itself for its future, especially the girl child. So the first thing is to be able to finish their education. Secondly, to be able to make the decisions on their own merits for themselves. And thirdly, to be able to aspire, whether it is in marriage or whether it's outside of marriage, whether it's about work or whatever, is to be able to have the knowledge, which is what education gives you, the skills and experience which age allows you to do, and life experiences give you that. But the main thing is the right to be able to choose what you want to do next. And that is so crucial, especially on marriage, but also in life as a whole.
Thank you very much. Michelle, now, what is the Children's Parliament doing so far in the fight for the rights of the Nigerian child?
Yes, so as a representative of the Children's Parliament, who wants our voices to be heard, we want our opinions to be put in consideration. We want whatever we say out to be put in consideration, and we want to see the fruit of our actions. We want to see it in take charge. Like, we want to see what we have said in action. We want to see that what we have said was fruitful to the society at large.
Okay. Now I want you to talk more on this. Where would you want your voice to be heard, especially in the issue of governance?
Yes, I feel like the government, they do not take the opinions of the children and the youths. I feel like when we air out our views, it should be considered, because there's a saying, the children are the leaders of tomorrow, and we will pick up from where from what they left for us, and it will not be a great idea to start cleaning up the mess. So we should start now that it's still early. The government should put in they should consider what we feel about the society and put our considerations in action.
Okay. Now, since you became Speaker of the Children's Parliament, what have you done in this regard to help the Nigerian child's voice to be heard, especially amongst those in government?
So we organized a program, ILO program, labor program, and we took our time to hear the views, to let the children air their views. We invited a lot of schools, and they said what they felt that the government should do to make the country a better place. And it was published, it was in most channels, TV channels, and then it went worldwide.
That's good. Now, I think it's time for us to go on a short break. We'll be back shortly. Do stay with us. We'll have more questions for our guests in the studio.
This is NTA News 24 broadcasting from Abuja. You can watch us anywhere, anytime on the following platforms.
Start Times, Channel 101, Free TV, Channel 743, Yes TV, Channel 419, N4TV, Channel 446.
For more information, log on to our website www.nta.ng or join us on our social media handles, Facebook at NTA News 24.
For comments, suggestions and inquiries, send an email to news24@nta.gov.ng or call us on the following numbers.
NTA News 24,
news and more news.
Welcome back. The program is Nigeria Today, and our guests are still with us talking about the changing childhood of the Nigerian child. Our guests, the UNICEF country representative in Nigeria, Peter Hawkins, is still with us, and the Speaker, Children's Parliament, Michel Chukwuma. We still have more questions. Let me continue with Mr. Hawkins. There is also this impression that today's young people, especially in this part of the world, face a lot of pressure to succeed, second highest on average across all countries. To what extent does this affect their mental health, and what are the ways out?
No, I think you're exactly right. Children are our future. Children are our conscience, and children have rights. And we should let them develop their views and their ways of working in a way where we don't force expectations on them. Nigerian children are extremely resilient, talented and ambitious. They should be given their own space to be able to develop and to look forward. What the Gallup poll showed was that between 14 to 15% of young people felt that they had so much expectations on them that at times they were getting depressed. This is an indicator of the pressures put on children. Well, you know, they are the future and our conscience. Let's let them develop in their time, in their speed, but let them be ambitious and let their voices be heard. And that would allow this society to renew itself, this society to have expectations of others that are reasonable and fulfillable.
Okay, now for the benefit of the viewer watching this program, can you give us some specific rights of children?
For me, the fundamental right is the right to a unique identity. It's birth registration, for example. That identifies that child exists, is a unique child, has a unique name and a unique number. Everything else comes from that, so that they use that identity to get vaccinated, so that they have a reasonable life, a healthy life. They get the nutrition that is the micronutrients that allows them to develop cognitively and physically, allows them to go to school and be counted at school, allows them to progress through the educational system, and then come out at the other end. And that's particularly important for girl children, so that they transition from primary education to secondary education. And then, as an individual, they come to the age of 18, they have an identity, they've gone through a process, and it's then up to them to be able to fulfill their rights and ambitions for the future.
Thank you. Now, Mitchell, you represent the Nigerian child now as their voice. What would you say to parents on the role or the part they have to play towards their children's education?
Okay, so I feel like parents have a very high expectation from their children, and they have the right to redefine and define their children's life. So they should encourage their children. I feel a parent, you can't call yourself a parent if you're not there for your child. You should always be there for your child and always encourage them to take the right paths and not get influenced.
Okay. You know, sometimes some parents want their children to live their life. For example, some parents, okay, I want my child to be a doctor, I want my child to be a lawyer. Sometimes a child may just want to be an artist. What would you say to such parents?
I would say that you should be the type of parent that you call your child one-on-one and talk to your child, because probably that, for a parent to say that, he or she might have some reason. So I feel you should discuss it with your child, even if he or she wants to do something particularly and you're advising them to do something. You speak it, you tell them in a way that they understand. In my language, there is a saying that when an adult stands and sees something, when a child climbs something, a chair or anything, that child cannot see that thing. So a parent should have a particular reason for telling that child that thing.
Okay. Well, I think everybody is a distinct human being with their own potential and talents. Now, Hawkins, what is the role of parents now, the educational system, and the society in changing the childhood of the Nigerian child in this 21st century?
I think the role of parents, as Michelle said, is to help guide the child through the different minefields and opportunities that life offer a child. But the important thing, and this is especially so in a country like Nigeria, it's also listening to the child. It's a two-way thing. It's supporting the child, but listening to the child, what the child wants to do. So to take your example, you might want your child to become a doctor, but the child itself might not want to go into medicine, might feel they're better suited to another type of profession. So it's about the two-way thing, and that's about society and governance, like you talked. It's about listening to children, giving children the voice, and reflecting what children are saying in the way that society works, in the way that governance works. And what UNICEF has to offer in this domain is we have something called U-Report. 3.7 million people have subscribed to U-Report, where their views and their challenges and their solutions are coming through to help us, help the government, help other actors in the development world to shape the way that we respond to a situation, the way we give services to people, the way we offer education and other elements of good governance.
Now, Speaker Michelle, there's this belief, I think you mentioned it earlier, that government should listen to children when shaping policies that would affect their lives. Tell us some of the reasons why the Nigerian government should listen to children when making these policies.
One of my main reasons is that, like I said earlier, the children are the leaders of tomorrow. So if they put our reasons in consideration now that it's still early, when we get there, when we get to the government, when we get to lead the country, things will be way easier for us and it will be way better for us.
Okay, Mr. Hawkins, how will you describe or rate the current level of awareness on the need for everyone to key into these changes that you advocate, and how can it be improved?
I think that there's a mixed bag, obviously, and I think Michelle has very eloquently put it. There's very high expectations of children from a very young age, and we need to loosen that up a bit and make the voice of children, like with the Parliament, and Michelle's doing a fantastic job as the speaker in there, to listen to children, to understand what children's concerns are and what they feel their solutions are. And this is possible in a country like Nigeria. And one of the major elements to help us with that is technology, is the digital platform, is data. That allows that two-way channel of information, but it also allows the skills of young people to start to dominate society, to start to dominate where governance is going in, and starting to shape a different world to the world that we live in today.
Okay. Yeah, I would also like you to respond to the question I asked Michelle earlier about government listening to children when shaping policies. So tell us some of these reasons why.
I think it's a critically important reason why. They are your constituents. They are 50% of a population. They are the future as well. If there are 65 million young people between the age of 10 and 24 in Nigeria, if you don't listen to that group of people, if you don't understand what their ambitions are and where their desires rest, or the new ideas and fresh look at issues that are brought forward, they would be frustrated, they would be depressed, they would be angry when they come through. But this is where parliaments, town halls, interfaces with politicians and society as a whole is so important. Schools, allowing schools to be able to reflect what children are thinking and amplify that in a way that society can use it and take it forward.
It's okay. Now, Michelle, what is your final word or message to Nigerian parents, the government, and of course the Nigerian child? Your final words.
Okay, so I feel that our parents should take on responsibilities for their children and for the youth. Like, they should be there for us. They should be there to encourage us. And the government as well should also give a listening ear to our opinions about the things that are taking place in Nigeria and worldwide.
Okay, what about the Nigerian child?
The Nigerian child should be able to speak out, so we work together and fight the problems we're facing in Nigeria today.
Okay, thank you very much for all your responses.
And I know we'll achieve it.
And the world at large. Yes, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. And we know that the future is bright. The future is surely bright. That is all for Nigeria Today, and we want to sincerely appreciate our guests, the UNICEF country representative in Nigeria, Peter Hawkins. Thanks for your insights.
Thank you very much indeed. Great to be here.
And the speaker, Children Parliament, Honorable Speaker, Michelle Chukwuma.
Thank you
for being our guest today.
Thank you very much.
We wish you good luck. Nigeria Today is on weekdays at 7:30 in the evenings. You can also watch the program on www.youtube.com/NTN News 24 Hub. Thank you for watching. I'm Lydia ODJ watching.